Welcome to the Feel Good Friday edition of the National Briefing. Good morning. This is Kelly Nash. And do you need a sweater? Maybe you need a coat. Perhaps another brick of coal on the fire? It's chilly in here, isn't it? Donald Trump is chilling America with his personal firing of Jimmy Kimmel. Although Jimmy Kimmel has not yet been fired, Donald Trump has already fired him, and it's chilling. And that's the second one, because he's already fired Stephen Colbert, who I noticed is still on the air. All right, let's go to the chilling montage.
But what Brendan Carr and President Trump are doing, they're using their bully pulpits to pressure media companies into changing content.
This should send a chill or a shiver up every American spine, regardless if they're a Democrat or a Republican. We don't want people ratting out people who are saying things that they don't agree with, or saying things that they deem to be negative about the sad and tragic death of Charlie Kirk. To me, it reminds me of back in the day when you had to rat people out because you believe that they belong to a certain political party.
Stephen Colbert announced that his late night show was being canceled back in July. The president of the United States, Donald Trump, had a chilling reaction.
Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent. They're next. They're going to be going. I hear they're going to be going. You know, Colbert has better ratings than Kimmel or Fallon. You know that.
Oh, my gosh. He called his shot. He's like the Babe Ruth of getting people fired. Or, you know what? Maybe, possibly. I mean, just hear me out. Is it possible that Donald Trump, a man who had the number one show for many years on NBC, outside of football and all that sort of stuff, but The Apprentice was one of the top-ranked broadcast shows, that perhaps he understands how declining ratings lead to cancellations? Maybe even people who aren't in television understand that. You've probably heard people talk about low ratings and then the cancellations. So Donald Trump says they're all failing. All the late night hosts are in trouble because the ratings for all the late night hosts are in the tank. And of the late night hosts, Colbert was actually at the top. And if they had to fire him for financial reasons, what's going to happen to the others? Of course they're going to have to get fired. Maybe that was it. Perhaps that was it. Perhaps it's like when you're, and I don't play this game, by the way, but you've maybe heard people play a game called, was it like Death List, something like that? They bet on who's going to be the next celebrity to die. So like if I called, who's somebody who's really old? Dick Van Dyke. Dick Van Dyke is 100 years old right now. If I said, he's probably next. He's probably the next celebrity to die. And then it happened. Did I kill Dick Van Dyke? Or is that just the natural way things work out? Did Donald Trump get Jimmy Kimmel fired who's not fired? Or is that just the way things work out? Seems more likely that it's just the way things worked out. If you take the comment in the middle, we don't want people ratting out other Americans for, he said, comments that they find distasteful or whatever. But you did want people ratting out fellow Americans who didn't have a COVID shot. You were a big fan of that. I certainly remember that. Look, the bigger picture for all of this is look at the amount of time that they're spending talking about the chilling effect the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel is having on the nation. America is chilled because of that. Compare that to the amount of time that they're talking about what I would say is a little bit more chilling. If you're trying to chill freedom of speech, you publicly execute somebody. You put a bullet in their neck. That's, I think, if I'm weighing the scales of chill, you might get fired from your $20 million a year job, or you get shot in the neck. I'm going shot in the neck. That's more chilling to me. But we're not talking about that. I say we're not. We and you and I and normal people, we talk about that. But the media, what are we calling them now? Are they even the media? Whatever this is, the Democrat national propaganda machine, whatever the legacy media, traditional media, the news outlets of the day, the news that your parents used to watch, they're spending their time talking about the great tragedy that is the potential firing of Jimmy Kimmel and the eventual dismissal of Stephen Colbert. That's, to them, the greatest tragedy in America. Like you and I can't stop thinking about the murder, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. They can't stop thinking about, we're going to lose one of the great voices in American comedy, although he wasn't funny. Hasn't been funny in years. I mean, he is a funny guy. Jimmy Kimmel has proven in the past that he can be funny. Stephen Colbert was hysterical on the Colbert Report, where ironically he mocked conservatives. But it was a very funny show. I'd also like to point out this chilling effect that they're talking about. Let me just go to the actual Wikipedia page for the Celebrity Apprentice. And where is that line that I was just reading earlier? Because Donald Trump, according to the Wikipedia page, and I don't remember this, I wasn't like a fan of the show or whatever, but Donald Trump was in fact fired. He got fired. Donald Trump was fired from the Celebrity Apprentice because NBC disagreed with the remarks that he made regarding Mexican immigrants during his announcement that he was running for president. He was fired because he said Mexico's not sending their best. Is that a chilling? Was Donald Trump chilled after that? That he just said, oh, I shouldn't say these things. Or perhaps I should just say what I believe and let the consequences fall where they may. Was his free speech impeded upon because NBC came out and said, Donald Trump, you're fired because we don't like what you said about Mexicans? No, Donald Trump never even made that claim, nor did any legal authorities, as far as I can recall, come to rush to Donald Trump's offense or defense over the offense of saying that Mexicans were invading our borders and we needed to build a wall. They found that offensive at NBC and they fired him. Donald Trump was right on that issue, by the way. NBC was wrong. And you probably should have kept him on the air because you replaced him with Arnold Schwarzenegger and you've lost 2/3 of the audience in one season. So I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20. Or is it? Because it doesn't seem like anybody on the left has learned a damn thing about any of this.